Maldivian President Muizzu has just been handed over a landslide victory in the parliamentary elections by people, a result that is bound to shift the geopolitics of the Indian Ocean region. Muizzu's political party won 60 out of 93 seats in the People's Majlis and secured a supermajority in the parliamentary elections, and his victory is being seen as a strong endorsement of his pro-China foreign policy. Remember, Muizzu's India out policy seems to have kept him in power. While New Delhi and Beijing closely watch this battle, rumblings have already begun on the further deterioration of ties between India and Maldives. His India out campaign led to Maldives forcing India to withdraw most of its military personnel from the island nation. On the other hand, amid closer ties, China and the Maldives have signed a defense cooperation agreement and several other infrastructure development projects as well. With a focus on maritime security and China's expansionist policy, how does this result impact India and how does it impact relations between India and the Maldives? Let's quickly decode this for you on the broadcast. First joined by Mr. Ahmed Adib. He's been the former Vice President and Tourism Minister of Maldives. He's President of the Maldives Third Way Democrats. Mr. Adib, thank you very much. Good evening from here, New Delhi. First of all, how do you see this victory of President Muizzu? It's a landslide victory. How do you view this?
So we have seen this in the past as well. If you see the last election, last parliamentary election, it was MDP who won the supermajority. So I think people has decided to give the full mandate to the president, which has been repeated twice as well. But this time is a very big historical win for President Muizzu. And I believe this is an opportunity for President Muizzu to balance the foreign policy because as I mentioned in my interviews earlier, he inherited this India out campaign from President Yamin and that presidential election was won on the President Yamin's blessings. But now they have fallen out. President Yamin has formed another party. And now Muizzu has the full power to decide whatever the foreign policy or there's no local, I would say, there'll be no pressure because the both election has just finished and President Yamin and him has both walked away. So I believe that I sincerely believe that this is a good opportunity to patch up, to balance the foreign policy because we need India, we need close relationship with India
But is he going to, Mr. Adib? You know, that's what the bone of contention has been, and that's what the talk has been, you know, not just in India, but in the entire Indo-Pacific region. The fact that will President Muizzu actually use this as an opportunity to balance his relationship with India, considering the fact that he has won the election on the plank of the India Out campaign?
Yes, as I earlier mentioned, he won it on the blessing of President Yamin, who started this India Out campaign, you know. So he inherited the party.
But he chose to continue it, right?
He has got a clear majority on his own. So yeah.
He had the choice of not inheriting it and taking it forward, but he chose to take this forward.
Yes. So now the political times are gone, the election is gone. So it's time to, you know, strategically decide on these things. I really hope that Maldives will balance foreign policy because if not, there will be repercussions, there will be difficulties because Maldives on its own, the economy itself is going through a very rough time and Maldives will need more bilateral and multilateral, especially a lot of support from India.
But help me understand, Mr. Adib, you know, the fact that his stance is seen as a pro-China stance shouldn't, as you said as well, that Maldives is going through rough times, shouldn't he be worried about that too? The fact that he is being seen solely as a pro-China president of the Maldives and not somebody who wants to be friendly with other countries.
Yes, I really believe that we should balance the foreign policy because, as you rightly said, we need support of India and we have a historical ties. India is going towards a 5 trillion economy and Prime Minister Modi is not only India's Prime Minister, but he's a regional leader, he's a global leader and as well as where India is developing, We should be part of it. We should join hands together and go forward. And that's what history has given us so many lessons that whenever we got into any big trouble, it was always India who bailed us out. And I believe we will need it very soon because we are coming towards 2026 where Maldives has to pay $1 billion of debt. So lot of these issues are there. So getting majority, I would say now Moise has the whole power to decide on what's to go forward. There's no one else, commanding him in Maldives. So I really hope that President Moise will take this opportunity to balance out the foreign policy.
One of the issues, of course, which has been concerning Mr. Adib, and you've been a tourism minister yourself, is the number of tourists from India decreasing and the number of tourists from China increasing. This has been the latest report from the Maldives. As much as, the Maldivian president and the current regime would like it, there are also observers who feel that this might lead to eventual debt trap or debt diplomacy that China has done with other countries as well. The Maldives has, of course, signed several MOUs with China, but isn't that a concern or something that Maldives should be looking out for as well?
Maldives says actually is a very big concern. The Indian tourists are dropping. And as you see, in last 4-5 years, especially after COVID, with the Indian tourists coming in good numbers, we haven't seen off-season. Normally, Maldives off-season is June, July. But with the Indian tourists, we didn't have an off-season. But I think this year we'll have because we have a decrease of Indian tourists, and which is very concerning to the industry. So I think it's a good time to patch up. It's a good time to, they're celebrating their election today. So it's a historical win, and I think this is a good time to patch up with India. And with China, they have been signing MOUs, but there's been nothing concrete. They haven't gone for the debt restructuring they've spoken of, but it has not materialized yet. And it's yet to see. There's been no budget support yet. So it's mostly the infrastructure projects. So I would say that if you take any of the historical events, it was always India who has given us budget support, loans and different bailout programs.
Okay. One of the first announcements or say steps that President Muizzu did and took when he came to power was asked Indian military personnel to withdraw from the island nation, from Maldives. Now that you're saying that, he should be patching up and mending his relations with India, what according to you should be the first few steps that he should be taking?
So India has been very patient. India has, been very diplomatic, has done everything what Moise has asked up to now. So I think, a visit to India, phone call to Prime Minister, India is going to an election. After that, there will be oath taking. So I think visit to an India and also, sitting diplomatically, sorting out issues on the table and going forward, I think will be very beneficial to both countries, I would say. We have to reach out, I would say.
And, Mr. Adib, okay, and you do hope and you are pretty optimistic about this, that President Muizzu will reach out to India. But let me also ask you how the people feel, considering the fact that he has won the election and there is that support clearly from the people of Maldives. What really is the sentiment, considering the fact that, the Maldivians and the Indians have a friendly relationship. We have had tourists, we have had a good relationship in the past. What's the general sentiment on ground there?
Sentiment on ground, they won not on the basis of India or Maldivian people love India, and it has never been a concern of Maldivian people that it was President Yamin who started this India Out campaign, same military and all that. While he was the person who signed these documents, I was there in the cabinet, when he signed these documents to bring in the helicopters where the military personnel will be there for technical support and to operate it. So he made it a political situation out of it and made it a political issue. It was never a citizen thing. There was no majority people has come out against India. There's no bad sentiments of people against India. So I would say even now, President Jammeh gone out of that party. He might try that, but he has a very small party now. So President Muiz has the big party, and he is the leadership. So I would say this is nothing something that people of Maldives is calling about. It has been some politicians doing it. So the sentiments here is they're celebrating the winners, but the opposition party, I think they will go for reshuffle of their leadership. But in the sense that I would like to assure that there's no sentiment against Indians in the public, I would say.
One of the biggest concerns and aims of between India and Maldives has been maritime security, and we've had agreements in that in the past. But now with China coming into this, how do you think this will pan forward, considering the very well-known favorable stance that President Muizu has with China? Because it concerns not just India, Maldives, and the China, but the entire Indo-Pacific region.
Yeah, I would say that President Muiz has to be very careful on deciding the next steps. As you said, it's not only the regional matter, it's matter of Asia Pacific as well. And there are other superpowers concerned in there. So we're a small country, and I believe we are a touristic country. We are here for the tourism. We have a small population. We should be a neutral country for all the maritime security, and so we should never take sides. We should be more balanced because we are a touristic country, and we should go for be in diplomatic good terms with all the countries, especially with our neighbors, so that we can have a very peaceful time with good tourism and economic development. Otherwise, there will be so many big problems, and there will be a lot of repercussions if there's a China towards policy, and especially regarding the maritime security.
All right, we'll leave it there. Mr. Ahmed Adib, thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing with us your thoughts and perspective and helping us understand the situation better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.